familiar faces. Good to see everybody. Got married. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. But good to see everybody's faces again.
Good to see you too.
Shout out to Gene too. I miss you, Gene. I know you're watching this.
And that just double.
But just how have you sort of adjusted to the new defense, new coaching staff, and all that kind of stuff over the last, however many days?
I mean, I think we've adjusted well, including myself. I think just, being in the building, being here, being with the guys, getting the communication from the coach's mouth is always huge. The coaches have been awesome, very communicative. They want to get us better. They want to be involved. They want us to be for each other, and you can tell by the passion that they give each and every day. I love it. A group of coaches that I want to sacrifice my body for and give it all I can. So, I'm excited for what this year brings us.
You haven't been at OTAs the last few years. Why was it important to be at this one?
It was a lot of different things. Just a lot of different things. A lot of different things. I think we can get into that a little bit later, but yeah.
Are you going to miss Arizona and doing that different stuff, or?
I think there's a time and a place. Before I came here, I was in AZ, so there's time for me to go work out there, and I'm getting older, so things are going to probably change a little bit throughout the year. Just have to find out what works best for me. Each and every year. Can't try to recreate things I did last year. Got to create a year within itself and learn to adapt, which I'm learning. But being here has been awesome. I've enjoyed everything about it, and
Can it be beneficial with a new staff?
Awesome, yeah, definitely getting their terminology, because just different things that we've used last year that they use. It's like on D-line fronts, it's switched for us, So I'm still processing, jet front and rush front from last year to this year, because I'm so used to one thing, but have to translate it into a different coaching staff terminology. But it's going good. They're being very patient with us, but we're also being very studious as a team, as players, of getting it. So we're doing good.
Did you ever hit 280 last year?
I did.
Playing weight?
I did.
What did it feel like?
I got up to I was like 285. I was much bigger. And my mindset was always, to be as dominant, but, it was a little, obviously holding a little bit more weight kind of, puts a little bit more wear and tear on the body, and just, it was a lot, too much. Again, learn to adapt, got to know what works best for you. Something that I tried and something that I'm like, all right, I probably don't want to do that again. So we're working on maintaining a good goal for me this year, and put some good tape out there.
Did you wear down? Did that bother you towards the end of the year?
See, I don't know, because I was also getting banged up a lot more. My body was not cooperating as much as I wanted to, but I take care of my body to the utmost. But it was a little bit different, so I don't know if that has something to do with the weight. So that's something I took in consideration coming into this season, and yeah.
So what's the goal number this year? 265?
To break the sack record, be an All-Pro, and win Defensive Player of the Year.
What do you weigh this year, though? Like when you come into camp, do you want to be in that 265 range?
I want to be in a dominant mindset. I don't want to be 285. What do y'all think?
I think you look great. Is that
all right,
the heaviest
then.
you ever been in your life? 285?
Yes, heaviest, and I felt it too. But I feel great. I ran 20 miles per hour the other day, so we can mark that up. So I still
Also,
got it.
Your fastest?
In a long time.
Okay.
A long time. But that was from me chasing my kids, so. But we still count it.
Everybody up front, they wanted to get bigger. So was it collectively, did y'all just not feel as effective as you wanted to be, you think, last year?
I can't really speak on everybody's situation. I can only speak on mine's. And mine's was, I can't go into another season thinking about my weight. You know what I mean? So that's why this year, coming back, just come back in that mindset and that weight class that I feel like I need to be, and is dominant, is fast, can move. I don't want to get off the field, and that allows me to, lose a little pound, lose a couple weight, because I don't want to go off the field. I want to do what's best for my team. I want to play at a high level each and every rep. Get out, get a squirt of water, and then come back in and play 4 or 5 plays if I need it, full speed, and take over games. So that's my mentality. That's the mindset, and that's the goal at the end of the day.
How quickly did you guys flush last season defensively?
The defensive guys.
Next question.
It looked like Coach Campanelli was spending a lot of time with you guys during the early periods. What was it like to have the D coordinator, really focusing in on the details that you guys were doing?
Definitely. Coach Camp has been awesome. He's never changed. I know everybody says the mentality, the personality, the personal person that he is, he's just a lot. He's a lot. But it's nice, because you step into that meeting room, you're going to expect one thing, and it's not just screaming. It's the passion. It's the love. It's the love of the game that he has. Calais always told me, man, if you want to be great at something, you got to love, you got to respect it. And so for me, he gives off that. He respects the game. He loves it. He loves the team. He loves the players that's playing for him. And that can only give us trust and faith that if we go out there and give him everything we got, I would love to keep seeing that upbeat. And when he's calm, that's when it's like, all right, somebody's about to get cursed out.
Last season,
In a good way.
this is a little bit off topic. Last season, you had a Guardian cap you wore for one game.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like wearing the Guardian cap? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
It's, personally, it was just, I don't think I will wear it again, but I can see the uses of having it. So the guys that are wearing it, there's no shade or no knock. I think if you wear it, you're thinking about long-term stuff. So kudos to them and continue to wear it. Nothing, I don't want to say anything negative about it, but for personally, I probably won't do it. It just felt a little
Heavy?
I mean, it's not heavy. It's like your brain's telling you that it's heavy, I think. And I don't want to think about something when I'm already thinking about whooping the person in front of me. It's just like the weight thing. I don't want to think about going to a season like my weight, because I got to think about I got to whoop this dude in front of me. So that's just one more thing that I just don't want to worry about.
Put 2 more. Back to camp real quick, Josh. Did you know about him when you were in high school? Because obviously he started coaching at Scotch Plains, and then obviously his brother's connection at Bosco. Okay.
I didn't, but we would have for sure whooped him if we would have played against him. That's I won't bat an eye on that one. Bosco, St. Peter's, all them private schools, we would have whooped them back in the day. Post it, tag it. Come on, man. Best public school in the nation.
Josh, you sometimes
Yeah, John.
trained away from here. Was it important for you to be here this year?
Yeah, I think I kind of spoke on that, but no, you're good. You my guy. I message you. You my guy, all y'all my peoples. But I think I told myself, even going into in the next season last year, I was going to be back in OTAs this year, and then when we hired Coach Liam, it was that connection that I had with him, that Kentucky connection I had with him, to give him, to help him out, to be there for him, to be one of the guys that he can trust and lean into this season. And then I had a lot of Kentucky coaches calling me, Coach White that I love dearly, who's DC at Kentucky now, called me. He was like, yeah, you're going to be there. So that's something I already had back in my mind of coming back and doing it no matter who we would have had. Because I got big goals that I need to do. And, again, it's all about adapting, figuring out what works. And so this year, I thought coming to OTAs would be a good sign for me. And, it's paying off pretty well.
Gene's retired, so I had to take over the repeat question.
It's okay, Gene. We will be missed.
Hey, okay, so confidence level that you guys can get back to where you were and have played defensively. It's been a minute since you guys have been a really good, dominant defense. Mm-hmm. What is your confidence level that the energy and the juice and everything will be back to where you guys need to be?
It starts right now. We can, Coach Kemp has a saying, talk is cheap. We can talk about how good we're going to be, how, great or legendary our defense or individual players can be. It's all about the work we put in every day, the communication that we have in the red zone, backed up situations, playing good situational football, knowing what everybody has to do, being in the right place, and it starts out here. if we can stack great days out here and keep doing it, and then we put the pads on and we can continue to, be physical up front, linebackers flying downhill, DBs staying in the backfield because we don't need them because we're stopping the run up front, and we got pass rushers that can rush, So, it's just all about that trust, and we got a good team, good players, and I'm excited to play for these boys.
Guys, where have you guys progressed at so far?
Yeah, I think today was probably the most balanced it's been, where offense make a play, defense come back, make a play. I thought it was just a good competitive back and forth, whereas maybe in days prior there's been more, okay, the offense has a really good day and the defense not, or vice versa. The defense has a good day and the offense is ticked off, specifically myself. But, I thought today was just a good balance of guys making plays and then coming back, okay, who needs to make a play, who's going to stop the bleeding on each side when maybe the offense or defense is making more. So I think just that competitive balance maybe has progressed over the last 6 or 7 practices. And I just thought today was probably a little bit cleaner in terms of it wasn't just like, all right, ton of drop balls or fumble, just some of the fundamentals were cleaned up a little bit today. Was it perfect? No, but I think that's maybe an area where we progressed today.
In previous years, a lot was made about red zone and certainly the growth there or lack thereof. What do you make so far of that portion of the field for Trevor and company?
Yeah, I think he's actually done a really nice job in the red zone, really looking back to the first time that we did it, last Friday when we did it. I think he made some quick decisions. Everything is sped up in the red area when the timing, the rhythm, the space, it's all tighter, it's all sped up. I thought he's done a nice job with his footwork in the red zone, understanding that concept. And ultimately, like, good teams in the red zone are able to run the football into the end zone, and it's hard to do that in this setting. So a lot of it is kind of geared towards practicing the pass game, the timing, the rhythm, the protections, understanding when zero blitz is coming versus drop 8. So those are the things we're getting work at, and I think he's done a nice job of executing in that area so far.
Rookie class start kind of settling in now that they've got a few under their belts?
A little bit. You can definitely see where maybe some of those guys are working with the first group or even the second group. You see some of those guys being thrust into some of these situations, whether it be because they've, earned those reps or maybe some injuries in the back end. Those guys are having to take some quality reps, which has been great, and then they get a good developmental period going on right now where they're going to get about 10 to 15 plays every day after practice. So you see those guys doing walkthroughs on their own. I go down and lift in the weight room and they're in the indoor walking through. So they're definitely trying to do the right things to help put them in a position to be successful.
How would you say the offensive line is coming along in the 7th OTA?
Yeah, I think they've actually done a really nice job over the last, specifically maybe 3 days. Just in terms of the communication, what we're asking them from a fundamental and technique standpoint, it's really hard to see maybe the grit and the finish and the toughness fully on display in these settings just because of the rules and regulations that we have, and we're obviously trying to improve every day as a unit, offensively, defensively, special teams, but I do think that group's done a nice job specifically over the last few days.
What about like Wyatt and Sam, like as being rookies, like trying to adjust to a new system?
Yeah, I think they both, done a nice job. I'll be honest. I mean, sometimes when you don't notice OL as much, it's typically because they're doing a good job. And specifically with Wyatt, I think you just see some of the length, the size show up, especially inside at guard, playing a position a little bit foreign to him, based on last year's production. And so typically when you don't notice those guys up front, it's a good thing.
What stands out to you about Foye Aluakon, and what have you learned about him as a professional?
Yeah, like what you just said was the pro's pro. He's early to every meeting, sitting down, ready to go. Communicates out there at a really high level, wants to understand the intent behind each call. He asks phenomenal questions in the meeting room settings, especially when the whole defense is in there. Some of the things that he brings up really forces an engagement within the whole group, with the coaches, the players, different position groups. I just think he has a really nice way of communicating things that he may not understand, that maybe other people are also not understanding. And so it just kind of brings collaborative communication together that I think he's, like I said, he's a pro's pro.
know it's voluntary, but we didn't see Anton out there. Just curious on where he was. Or...
Yeah, he just had a day off today. Wasn't feeling too well.
When Travis has been on defense, what has stood out to you?
Well, Milo came up to me after practice and said, can we have him more? And so that's a good thing, right? We were in the red area on Friday and didn't end up making any plays on the ball, but just the movement skills and some of the man coverages, the feel and zone, you can definitely see how natural it is for him. Still learning, still growing, still trying to learn the calls as much as possible. But when you see him just in the actual 7-on and team setting, he doesn't look out of place by any means.
One thing that I know Josh said today, we heard it a little bit from Trayvon, heard it from Eric on Osher's podcast, this idea of players who want to get lathered up on the defensive side of the ball, maybe not be rotated out as much, actually play first, second, third down. In your assessment of the roster from last year, how much was that a point of emphasis to ensure that a 41, a 44, they're on the field as much as possible?
Yeah, that's the goal. Ultimately, you've got to. It is a fine. It's a little bit of a balance of keeping guys fresh and wanting. You always hear the term waves of rushers. But ultimately, you've got to have your best guys on the field as much as possible, and especially in those money downs, whether it be in the third downs, known passing situations, and in the red zone, right? So I do think it's a balance, but ultimately, if they're in the physical shape to be able to do it and to play down in and down out consistently, that will be really important for us. Those guys are going to have to be in elite shape. They've done a great job of getting to that point thus far, and think that they're on track to do those things in this fall.
You've spoken on this before about being an offensive-minded coach, and when you mentioned the balance that the defense makes plays, do you feel like you're learning how to handle that side of it a little bit more, or is it still offense primarily?
I think last week, it was actually a comical play in the red area in 7-on where De'Ami Brown makes a one-handed catch kind of behind him like this. It seems as if he came down with the play, and I'm kind of going nuts. All of a sudden, Jordan Lewis comes out with the ball and starts running it down this way, and I start running with him. So right in that moment, I'm excited and pumped for the offense, but then had to just innately switch to being excited for the defense. So ultimately, it is a little bit of a challenge at times. I think just naturally, my mind goes a little bit more to the offensive side. If we don't have a good day or if we don't complete a ball, I'm probably going to be a little bit more upset. But still learning, still growing.
What have you seen from Etienne so far?
I mean, he's done every day, everything we've asked him to do, he's done at a good click for us. I mean, the ability in the screen game to hand him jet sweeps, his vision so far in the run game's been good. He's done everything we've asked him to do and more. There's been a consistency. Again, one of those things where, he can shine in ways in space. It's really hard to see a runner in this setting. Are they going to get the hard, physical, tough yards? Are they going to be able to stick their foot in the ground and get those, physical, violent yards that we're going to need? That's hard to really kind of grade at this moment. He's done a great job. I don't really understand some of the stuff I've kind of seen out there. That's absolutely inaccurate.
Tweaking the OTAs from later in the day to earlier, you get a lot of feedback from the players on that and thanking you maybe?
Yeah, I think that early on you set a schedule and then you have to always, I think, be fluid, right? Like if we're just going to sit here and say we're going to bang our heads against the wall and do a long practice, what's the point? The goal is to get good quality work for them to walk off the field during OTAs feeling like they got lathered up, they got a good workout in that, but not to just have them keeled over dying. That's not this phase. That's not what it's about. Do you want to stress them physically and mentally? Absolutely. But to me, this is more of a mental above the neck time to stress these guys. So yeah, after the first couple, we kind of peeled it back a little bit and just tried to kind of freshen it up a little bit.
Couple more guys, couple more.
Josh Hines-Allen come to OTAs. What's it like having a leader like him show up for things that aren't mandatory?
Yeah, it's huge. It's something that ultimately you want to be the standard for everybody, right? For everybody to want to be here. with what we have available to us with this facility, with the training, with the strength and conditioning, with the nutrition. You want guys to want to be here and not have to feel like they need to go elsewhere to get quality work in for themselves. So that's been huge. It's been huge to have him here, especially what he's been going through personally with his family, and for him to be here as much as he has been really, really instrumental for our defense, and for our entire team.
As far as DBs go, obviously you're rotating guys in and out, but what do you make so far of the competition at that room, especially on the outside?
Man, they've got their hands on a lot of balls so far. I mean, just having some more vision on the quarterback and some of the zone coverages, and then, when we've been able to play man, it's something that they've been doing for quite some time last year, and so they've done a nice job in man. I think Tyson's done a nice job with his hands and feet at the second and third levels. You saw Monteric make a nice play again today. He's been steady and consistent. That whole group has done a really good job. Jordan Lewis, Jarian Jones, that whole crew of guys, it's been competitive. It's been a learning curve, obviously. When you're used to playing so much man, going back and playing a little bit of zone, as it sounds, could be a little bit challenging based on where your eyes are and the discipline, things like that. I think they've done a nice job, though, so far.
Jarian's still outside predominantly?
Yep, he goes inside a little bit, but primarily outside, be able to still get him some nickel reps. And, he's eager. He's eager to learn. Him and Jordan Lewis walk around everywhere together. Saw him at church yesterday together. So, it's a good person for Jarian to continue to learn from, and both of those guys are doing a good job.
You mentioned when you got hired just how impressive some of the things Brian did on tape was. Yeah. Now that you're actually here with him in person, what's it been like?
Yeah, he's got those freakish talent, man. He's got some freakish traits, and just his attention to detail in the meeting room setting, being able to answer questions. You see some of his personality come to life as well. But you see when we get into competitive situations, there's definitely a little bit of an uptick. You get the feedback from some of these guys, especially when it's scripted. They're just kind of like, again, why is it? So we start doing more call it, and you start to see, especially VT, come to life. The ability for a big dude like him to be able to operate in the slot, run some of the choice and option routes, but also be able to go vertical and catch the ball down the field. He's been a real pleasure to work with so far.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.